This is Annatto powder. It comes from the achiote plant and is native to Central America. It's also known as the lipstick plant, and you may be able to tell why. In this video, I'll use this powder to dye fabric. So let's see how it turns out. Annatto powder is mostly used in cooking. It's used as seasoning to add flavor. It's also used as a pigment. It's been used to color certain foods such as various cheeses because it creates a yellow color. Historically, annatto was mostly used as a dye. People use it to dye their skin, they put it on their faces, they used it to decorate various artistic creations. Over time, it evolved more. Well, in addition to being used as a pigment, it became also widely used as a seasoning. Here in the States, it can be purchased in the store. They sell it in little packets. I've also seen the plant being sold at a farmer's market some years ago. It's a very unique looking plant. If you're able to look it up online, you'll see how it looks. The powder is very, very fine. And if you rub it between your fingers, it smudges, which is likely why it's also called the lipstick plant. In the previous clips, you saw me preparing the powder by mixing it with water and adding it to the pot. Right here, I'm going to add some mordant to my container that I use for pre-treating fabrics. And this is the aluminum acetate that I made myself. At first, I was showing you the Alum, which is, commercial, comes from the store. And I created my own aluminum acetate. And that's what I'm using as a mordant. In addition to boiling the dye, I also want to solar dye fabric with Annatto and see how it turns out. But I want to do a little experiment here and see if adding Alum to the dye will cause the color to change. That's been my experience using Alum with various other dye agents, is that the color will transform. So right here, I'm just adding a little bit to see if this is going to change. And then this is the dye that I'll use in the jar out in the sun to solar dye. So far, I'm noticing that the color is not changing. I added a little bit more just to see, but it seems to be staying the same. So I'll go ahead with this and use it for solar dyeing. I like this soft orange color that came from the Annatto powder. I do believe that if the dye is applied in another way, maybe more water is added or even more powder, that you could come up with yellow dye. So I'm going to wash this and see how it holds up. I was just showing you the detergent that I use, just a clear plant-based detergent. And you can see the color held up pretty nicely in the machine. I really enjoy Annatto powder. Its texture is just really, really nice. I like the color of the powder. I like the color that results from dye. So I do think this is a viable source for natural color. Sometimes I have this mentality that, oh, I already have something that can make orange or yellow, so what's the point of using something different? For instance, turmeric is one of those dyes that I feel like I got all my oranges and yellows covered, even red, since I know how to make turmeric red. But I do like using Annatto, and I like the softness of the color here. And unlike turmeric, it's considered to be a substantive dye and not a fugitive dye. We can expect more in terms of color retention with Annatto. So I enjoyed this little experiment, and I'll be dyeing more items with Annatto since I do have the dye left over and it can be reused. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.